everyone. Happy Sunday. Thank you so much for being with us today. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kathleen Kuo, and I am a program manager with Nevada Humanities, which is our state's affiliate for the National Endowment for the Humanities. We try to connect and transform communities across Nevada by sharing and amplifying the stories, ideas, experiences, and traditions of the diverse people who live here. It's so wonderful to see so many happy, enthusiastic people with us today in chat, especially on a Sunday, sleepy Sunday afternoon. So I'm very excited to play games and talk about all things poetry with you in a little bit. So with Humanities at Play, which is our newest series here at Nevada Humanities, our goal is to pair gameplay and pop culture with thoughtful discussions about the humanities and how they shape our everyday lives. But we really want our streaming experiences on Twitch specifically to be fun and interactive. So please, by all means, we would love to hear from you as we play. If you have any questions for our featured guest, if you have thoughts about the game itself, it's always fun to chat with you as we play and discuss together. So a couple quick notes before we get started. If you aren't already following us here on Twitch, I encourage you to do so, and that way you can get our notifications whenever we go live. And if you're a newer user to Twitch, there's a fun feature called a chat command, which is an exclamation point followed by a keyword. And we have a list of commands that you can feel free to try out in chat to learn more about Dustin, learn more about the work we do at Nevada Humanities. So go ahead and try those out in chat whenever you have time. So today I am joined by Dustin Howard. Dustin, who is here with me on screen, is the current Poet Laureate for the City of Reno. Originally from the Ozarks, Dustin moved to Nevada after falling in love with the mountains and the wonderful people of Reno. He's a professional grant writer with a decade of dedication to nonprofit organizations, especially those that serve homeless and at-risk youth. He's the author of Engrams, a collection of poetry, and a supernatural thriller novel, Breakvale. When he isn't writing, Dustin likes to fill his time with arts and crafts, amateur carpentry, and watching Star Trek. Dustin also recently wrote a blog post for us. At Nevada Humanities, we have a blog that updates every Thursday, the Double Down blog. So if you missed our stream a few weeks ago, you can still see Dustin's blog post up there. So we encourage you to check that out. Dustin, thank you so much for joining me today for our Humanities at Play stream. This is now going to be, I think, my third time streaming with you, and our second time playing through Gris, which is this beautiful game that came out in 2019, a gorgeous platformer that was created by a Spanish developer. I think this game is so awesome when thinking about poetry, and I'm just wondering if you want to share any of your thoughts for our friends here today in chat before we get started.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, it is our third time streaming together. Third time, hopefully many more. Thanks so much, Kathleen, and everybody there in chat that has joined us today. We're going to have so much fun. We're going to do some tankas today. We can do haikus as well. And if you are unfamiliar with what a tanka is, so tanka is very similar to a haiku. It uses a 5-line structure and has a strict syllable count. So for those of you who are ready to go and want to know, the line count is as follows. The syllables per line are 5, 7, 5, 7, 7. And maybe we can pin that to the chat or something, or remind folks, here and every once in a while, remind them 57577 is the syllable count per line for a tanka. Little background on tankas. It's a Japanese form of poetry, came about somewhere in the 7th century, and was used, but traditionally, I think tanka translates something to like a short song, and traditionally was written in one long, unbroken line. We break it up now, but tankas were often used are used in courtship, which I learned recently, very recently, as I was doing a little bit of looking back and fact-checking on myself for today. The tanka is really suitable for emotional expression and for intimate communication. So it's really a great fit for Gris today. Of course, a game about the stages of grief. and your journey through them. So fantastic opportunity to pair a poetry form with this video game today. So again, 57577 is the line count. As you're watching today, if you write something, throw it in the chat. We'll read it out loud. And of course, this is a safe space. We're all here to have fun, so no judgment. All forms of art here are valid, and you are too. So whatever you write, if you're feeling happy to share it, I'm happy to read it.
Absolutely.
That's what I've got, Kathleen.
All right, let's get going. Yeah, this is absolutely a poetry positive space. And yeah, again, if you don't want to write down a full haiku or tanka, we'd still love to get, words or phrases. I believe the last time I played a game with Dustin was Child of Light. And I think alabaster and dirigible, those are two words that we loved. We put them together, get alabaster
Yeah,
dirigible.
that's right.
So
Alabaster dirigible.
we love words here. Okay, I'm going to get this game
Yep.
started. So let me share this with you, Dustin.
All right.
Okay. All right. I am super stoked. I am very curious if our friends in chat who here, if you haven't joined us before, if you've heard of this game before. All right, so we are going to continue on. Like Dustin said, this game is about the 5 stages of grief. And this is my first time playing it through, so everything here is new to me as well as Dustin. Last time we were mostly going through a very red stage, and I believe we just found and discovered the color green. So very excited. Okay, we are about to, okay, there we go. Thank you, Silver. Welcome in, Silver. Great to see you. And Hugh, great to see you too. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. We have discovered the color green. Okay. I mean, just as we're seeing this, I feel like red is such a powerful color, and I really love that it's paired with green, which I think, well, first of all, green is my favorite color, but I think of green as being like a very calm color. I think of like life, the earth, and I feel like together, hopefully people don't think about Christmas, although it's okay, you're welcome to think about Christmas, but I just think like two sort of like polar opposites here.
Yeah, I think these happen to be muted enough colors that it's not the vibrant red and green of Christmas.
Okay, so we're just gonna explore. I believe we came in from the right, and I'm not sure where we're about to be taken. Or maybe we came in from the other way. I'm just so stunned every time I see this game. Just the colors. I know. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's breaking up. I love how it just feels very like watercolor and hand painted. I mean, this game is just visual poetry. That's how I feel as I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. I mean, you look even just just look at what's going on right now. That super zoomed out landscape that we got.
Oh, oh my goodness, where are we? I think this is the first time we've gotten like nature sounds. In the past, we've always gotten like music, and now we're getting a little bit of, it sounds like birds and other creatures. So this is great fodder for creating a poem that's, tied to nature. Hugh asks, can you give us an example of what a tanka can sound like? Do you have an example ready, Dustin?
I sure do have an example ready.
Great.
I have a tanka actually that I wrote just the other day. So I love otters. The otter is my favorite animal, like hands down.
It's a good animal.
So I wrote, yeah, it's a great animal. So I wrote a tanka about an otter, or about otters. So this will give you an example, and this one's a little more nature inspired as opposed to something emotional, but that's okay. Goes like this. Thwack. A cracked oyster, shelled by vicious furry paws, an afternoon snack struck against a favorite rock. A full belly floats away.
Oh, I love that. That's very evocative. I love your use of onomatopoeia, which is also a great word. Thwack.
Thwack. Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, thwack is a good word. Yeah, so that's an example there. As you're thinking about as you're thinking about your line breaks. Hey, Hugh, you're welcome. Thanks. That's a great question. Thanks for asking. For those that were curious, as you're thinking about your line breaks, it's okay if each line stands on its own, or if it kind of rolls into the next line. You remember the tanka in its original form was one long unbroken line, and so it's okay if it's meant to be read in sort of one long unbroken line. That's totally fine. Or you can break it up so that each of the 5 lines sort of stand independently. There's no right or wrong answer here.
I'm getting some serious Studio Ghibli vibes from the section of the game that we're currently in with all these little creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
that was a little mini cutscene just now, so I was unable to move while that little creature with like a little house on it. Maybe I think it was made of stone. It was kind of hard to see. I think I'm supposed to follow it and learn a little bit more.
Well, what's really interesting, the folks, if you didn't see the first part of this playthrough when we started, there wasn't a lot of life. It was basically barren, and now we see what looks like maybe some vegetation, some like mushrooms. There's some like birds that just flew away. So like it's really interesting as we move through the colors how we're sort of seeing life again.
Yeah.
And I think that's just obviously probably a very intentional sort of thing that they've done there.
Mm-hmm. Right. The first part of this game, it was all about, I felt like there was a lot of wind. It was super harsh. Maybe, when you first
Mm-hmm,
lose
mm-hmm.
something or someone that you love and you're really experiencing grief, I guess maybe that's just how like impactful it is. And maybe now we're getting to this second stage, a little bit quieter, softer stage of grieving.
Yeah.
And again, I love, love, love the art. There's just something very satisfying about like the way that curves and sharp lines are paired together in
Mm-hmm.
this game. Very fun. I almost wish I could like slide down the hills. I'm a little bit sad I have to run down them. Like I wish it was like a game where you can just hold down like the down button and you just go
Right.
like swoosh. Oh, I've fallen off. All right, friends in chat, I would love to know what are some things that you're thinking about as you see this game? I know some of you, again, this may be your first time seeing this game altogether. It's definitely my first time getting to this section of the game. I find that myself again thinking about just like the color story that's being told here. I'm thinking about like the shapes and how I don't know, it's just so very organic. And I'm still reminded of there was a previous section where there was like red and it looked like arteries or kind of like a menorah. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting that sort of
Yeah.
same vibe here, except now we have, like the red that's in like a tree trunk, but still kind of reminds me of like arteries and capillaries.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting because where you think about um it does still sort of look like, as you said, arteries or veins, and it's, what am I trying to say, like the lifeblood, right, supplying these new shapes and these new colors.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we just got our little friend eating an apple. Yeah, Hugh writes, I'm curious how there's a lot of ruined buildings and the grounds sometimes look like the burnt edges of paper. Oh, I love that. The burnt edges of paper. And actually, I do get, oh, look, I have a little friend. Hi. Oh, he's shy. Or she, I don't want to gender. It is shy. They are shy. If I turn around and look at them, they pop back in and make the cutest little squeak. But yeah, it definitely is like, it reminds me a little bit of Ash. You're right. Wonder where we're going. Can you sing in the game real quick? Sing? What do you mean by sing? Oh, he's
There's
eating an
gonna be
apple.
like,
No.
there's gonna be, there's a sing button. Is there a sing button?
Is there a
That would
sing
be
button?
hilarious. That would be so funny if there was a sing button this whole time and we didn't know it.
Yeah, did I? It's been a while, admittedly, so it's very possible that I don't remember what the controls are. So right now, I think the only thing I can do is press K, which is this. But there is another game that we played where there was a sing button. Actually, if you play the game Everything, which is a very surreal game, you can sing in that game. I don't think we sang in this one yet, though, Silver, but maybe we'll get to that. I wouldn't be surprised if we discover, new abilities as we play, just like, being heavy. Okay, not sure where we're... Let's see if we can get up. Well, these little apples for you to eat. How do we get up here? Dustin, you might be better at puzzling this out, like... Oh, you didn't hear the squeak of the creature? It is a little bit soft.
What happens when you jump to the right there up on that? Yeah. Oh, you got it. You're...
Yes. I discovered that the shape changes. Oh, okay, maybe I wasn't supposed. Let's try this again. It's like a metaphor for life. Hello, new to the game myself. Just from the opening scene and short gameplay, I noticed the art design has a lot of Morisco and Spanish influence in the stone ruins and arches, as well as the art from the surrounding nature. It's an interesting blend. You said this developer was Spanish? Yes, so Spanish from Spain. So if you look this game up on Wikipedia, I'm sorry I don't have all the information like readily available to me, but you can learn a little bit more about the developer. Because I believe, the title of this game, too, is Spanish. Oops, I fell down. Thank you for that comment, too, about the architecture and
great.
art. I love it. I love when people bring new things to the table.
No, that's awesome, because that's something that we haven't even really talked a whole lot about is the architecture.
Mm-hmm.
I think we did kind of initially, but it's neat to have somebody there that has an eye specifically for the Spanish architecture and can see the influence of that.
All right, so I'm wondering if this is just a dead end or if there's something that I'm missing, because I've made it to this part, and then when I try to jump off to the left, I wasn't able. So this is like a dead end. So let's just retrace our steps. Totally fine.
Okay, yeah, you definitely...
I think sometimes what I like about this game too, of course, it's very puzzly in nature, and sometimes you think you're going down a path, and maybe that's not the path you're supposed to go down the whole time.
Isn't that so just like life, though?
Yeah. Okay, so I am stuck here, so
you are stuck. There must be something you're meant to do over here.
Yeah. Okay, let us discover. Oh, you know what? Do you see that? I'm pointing, and I realize you can't see me pointing. Do you see that little apple hanging from that tree in the middle?
I do. I see that.
I wonder if that's for our friend because he likes to eat apples, and I don't see any other apples there. John, did you just... Is that a Tonka? In the vibrant light, the purest form of beauty shines brightly through. Your form brings me from the dark shapes and hues, endless in thought. I'm not counting the syllables. Dustin, can you count the syllables?
Yeah.
Did he do it?
Yeah, in the vibrant light, the purest form of beauty shines brightly through your... Yeah, nice. In the vibrant... You're you are so close. Shines brightly through. Shines brightly through. One syllable off. Shines brightly through. It's 4 syllables. Shines brightly through.
Maybe just shines brightly? Or
Needs one more syllable. That's beautiful though. I love that. Well done.
John, did you know that you're a poet? I bet you didn't even know it. Thank you. That was really beautiful. Rip, you were right.
Hey, listen, that is all right when you're doing it on the fly.
Add throughout. Right, and this is again poetry positive space, poetry safe space. We're all here to support one another. I love that we're collaborating.
Yeah, throughout could work, totally. Throughout could absolutely work. Shines brightly throughout.
Oh, he's copying me. There. Interesting.
All right. Well, that's gonna be necessary later.
Yeah. Okay, come on, little friend. You can make it. Oh, your legs are too short. We did it. Okay, so if we add throughout, does that add enough syllables?
It does, yeah, throughout. It sure does. And it works.
You know, I'm just gonna stop here and just say I love these like falling leaves. I think there's something like very romantic about leaves when they fall. Maybe because it makes me think of like autumn, right before all the leaves fall and die. But I've always been a sucker for leaves falling in the air. I'll also say, you know, moderators, you are not immune to this poetry exerciser. So Tannhauser81, I see you. I would love to know what haiku or tanka you might come up with. I do love that we have a little friend. It sort of makes you think that, you know, you don't have to go through the stages of grief alone. Oh boy, putting me on the spot. That's right. Okay, let's see. Oh, I have just fallen through. Here, come here, little friend. Oh, he doesn't want to go any further.
All right, so you got to do something here, huh?
I'm stuck.
Oh.
Oh, there's another one. Here we go. Okay. And again, just these shapes. I love how you know, these are simple shapes like triangles and squares, but you put them together and it just makes something really special.
Absolutely.
Oh, we're sliding.
I love the little flip he did.
I know. What should we name? I feel like our little friend deserves a name. We, you know, when we played Child of Light, we named our little firefly Bow, even though his actual name is Igniculus, but I loved our little dumpling.
We did. He did. It looked like a little dumpling.
Oh, did our friend leave us? It looks like they've just left us. Well, we'll come back. We'll see.
Sorry, give me one moment. I was not paying attention to how charged my computer was. I gotta plug in.
Sure, no problem. Okay, friends in chat. Last time I was here, we had people sharing their thoughts on cats. And, as we learn, Dustin loves otters. I would love to know what are some other favorite creatures we have in this community? As we play more and more games, we're going to discover some more things about each other. And it's always nice creating things about, the people, places, things, and creatures that you love. So I might ask some of you to write me poems based on what you say. I like Moogles. Oh my goodness, Hugh. I think I know the answer to this, but are you a Final Fantasy fan? Oh, we have fallen. Turtles are very cute. I like Moogles, snow leopards, foxes, and nudibranches. Silver, I recently learned what nudibranches are, and I'm going to try very soon. This is sort of a special sneak peek, but there is a local author in Southern Nevada who has just come out with a children's book about these little creatures, and I would love to work with her. And develop some programming with her in the future. Maybe even invite her to be on Humanities at Play. So, super excited that you said that. Maybe if you have any questions, you can chat with her about her research and about these little creatures. Like these, it just waved to me. Hello. Okay, Tan, is this your Tonka? I'll do another reading when Dustin is back, but I'll read it now. So you say, friends are like family, precious moments remembered. Our time in this world, finite may it always be, reminds us to cherish all. Tan, that is so sweet. Oh my goodness. I think that has to go into your Twitch profile. Tan's Tonka. Tanka. It's in your name. Yeah, nudie branches are very cute. They remind me a little bit of axolotls, I think, if I'm remembering right. The world is just amazing, just full of all these little like creatures, plants, fruits, all over the world that we just don't know that much about, and there's always more to learn. Dustin, hello, welcome back.
Hello. Thank you very much.
We have a beautiful Tonka in a stream by our friend Tan. I don't know, I just read it, but if you would like to read it again, please feel free to.
Oh, okay. Friends are like family, precious moments remembered. Our time in this world, finite, may it always be, reminds us to cherish all. I love it.
And is there
It's
the right amount of
fabulous.
syllables? I didn't count, but I think Tan probably did, and it sounds good to me.
Yes, indeed. Good job, Tan.
Wonderful. And I was asking people while you're gone what their favorite
Fabulous.
creatures are, and I love that we got an assortment of real, fantasy, and also real, but also I feel like nudie branches are almost in that realm of fantasy. Hugh, tell us which Final Fantasies you like. I think we have some enthusiasts in chat who would like to know the answer to this question.
What in the world is a nudie branch?
Yeah, you got. We're
I'm
gonna.
gonna look that up.
Please do. Please do.
Oh, whoa. Huh. How about that? Are they venomous?
I don't know. They're mystical, says Silver. They're like little sea slugs. Oh, some of them
Some
are.
of them are.
I love it. We are all going to be thinking about nudie branches, I hope, for the next week.
Oh, we've had a. Oh, for the DSI.
Right, that is a nostalgic thing, isn't it?
I remember. Yeah, I remember my DSI. Many of you probably will relate. I remember, let's see, I was a freshman in high school when Pokemon Diamond and Pearl came out, and I had my DSI that could fit in the pants, like in the pockets of my shorts. and I would put my DS in my pocket, and then literally any excuse I had to like get out of class for 5-10 minutes, and I would like flip it open. I'd like find a corner, or I'd like go hide in the restroom or something. I'd like flip it open. I like play for 10 minutes and then put it back. You know, like I was hopelessly addicted. I was so into that game for a few months when it came out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think I'm just retracing my steps right now, but that's all right. Dustin, did you ever have a graphing calculator? Did you ever play games on your
Oh
graphing
yes.
calculator?
No, never played games on the graphing calculator. I only touched the graphing calculator when I absolutely had to. Listen, math and I have an interesting relationship with math
Okay.
because I think math is so freaking cool. Like I think math is fascinating. Math is almost witchcraft as far as I'm concerned because I don't understand it, right? It just works by magic.
Uh-huh.
I think math is so cool, and I think some of the things that you can do with math, I mean, it's just like it's literally astronomical, all of the possibilities. And so I have nothing but mad respect for people that just that it comes easily to, or that, you know, where math is like their focus, people
Mm-hmm.
that can do math. I think it's so cool. In the same way that like I can't sing, so I think that people can sing are just fascinating. You know, so I think math is really cool. That being said, I was never very good at it. I had to work really hard to understand like algebra, and like I enjoyed geometry because that made more sense to me for some reason than algebra did. Just like a spatial awareness thing maybe, but so like math never really came easy to me at all, and even though I got fine grades in math, I had to work for it, and so I have this love-hate relationship with math consequently. I wouldn't do it voluntarily, you know what I mean? But a really good example of this, and this is way off on a tangent, but like I have a sister who is 12 years younger than me, and she was going through algebra 1 and algebra 2 right in high school, and this has been now a few years. But I was always, even though I was bad at math, I was always the one that was the best at math in my family, and so I was automatically elected to help her with like her math when she wasn't getting it,
Mm-hmm.
and so I sorry, let me turn my I've got a slow charge. I'm so oh yikes.
No worries.
All right. Yeah, I've got a slow charge for some reason here on my okay, so I'm turning some battery saving options on here. If I just disappear for 5 minutes, I will be back, but
Okay.
hopefully that doesn't happen. Yeah, anyway, so I would help her, and then I would help her do her algebra 1 and 2, and I'm like, oh, I remember doing all this, and I'd like teach myself the concept so I could teach her how to do it, and it's like, man, I'm so good at high school math.
Oh.
You know, and I did have fun with it, and like can have fun with it, but again, just total love-hate relationship with math. Okay, and now that we've gone down that rabbit hole, you know, Silver, reading your comment here, pay no attention to my love of D&D and games where you must count damage to make sure you defeat enemies. Look, I play Magic the Gathering, and not that there's quite as much math as there is necessarily like in D&D. There is a lot of math in D&D, but there's a surprising amount of math that also happens in Magic the Gathering, and there are times when it does come in handy to know your times tables and things.
Dustin, I was thinking I totally agree with you about math and how it's just kind of magical. I feel like the same about physics. I never took physics in high school, but I just think anyone who's like really into like theoretical physics and does really like deep work in that field, just how beautiful must it be to see the world in that way, you know, the things that constitute
Mm-hmm.
matter itself. I've always thought it was very, very cool. Okay,
I couldn't agree more.
everything changes when I jump. All right, so I'm trying to get up here. let's chart a path. Let me catch up in chat really quickly. So, okay, I know I now have a list of little creatures I have to look up after stream. Hugh, you also do cosplay. Have you done Final Fantasy based cosplay? I know we definitely have some Final Fantasy X fans in chat, and I believe that is one of the games that you have played. Not to call you out. All right, so this stays constant. Let's see. I'm just going to jump a little bit and see where things take me. Okay, so if we go to the right, I don't think there's a way. Maybe there is. Let's see.
I think it's interesting too. We've shifted like all the way back to red.
We have, yeah. No! All right, let's try again. Okay, maybe time my jump count. Oh, we'll try this again. And yeah, you're definitely right about the colors. I wonder what this means in terms of where she is in her emotional journey. I would like someone to maybe write me a tanka, if you have time, no pressure. Maybe about the color red and how it makes you feel. Because I think, you know, we've gotten some really positive, uplifting tankas, you know, about friends and family, about beauty. But I think where we are in this game right now, I feel like we're starting to, you know, these like emotions are now radiating. These, I don't want to call them negative per se, but definitely it's a little bit more charged. And I'd like to know how that makes you feel.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just going to think about my jump. So if I jump when it's a square, it disappears. But I wonder if I'm able to... Oh, not yet. Maybe I have to approach it from the other side, because if I jump now, a thing's going to pop up and block the light.
Mm.
Okay, let's try the other
We got
side.
a comment in chat. I've written a haiku, but I'm not sure how to use the space bar to indent it. Oh, don't worry about that. It use like a forward slash to. You can use forward slash to show the line breaks.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I guess that's a good just for anybody. If you want to use a forward slash to denote where your line breaks are, that's a really clean way to do it. Oh yeah, Tan, thank you.
Okay, we have gotten the second star. Now we can go back. Actually, no, let's see if we can get that one off to the left. Okay, maybe I can't get that yet. I would like to get the one that's up here. I don't think it's possible. Well, actually, maybe it is. Let's try. This is where we test Kathleen's platformer skills because I don't play platformers. Oh, that was not right. But yeah, I guess I was asking people to write or think about like a haiku or a tanka that might relate to where we are now because I'm definitely getting some feelings of like sadness or regret. It's kind of funny how even without saying it, just like the color story and the shapes can tell you. I think like it almost feels like with the red shapes that are falling, which I know are supposed to be leaves, but it makes me think of like ash or even like drops of blood that are falling. Very sad. Okay, so let's see. There we go. I got it. Tenhauser, thank you again for the pin. And let's retrace our steps back and see what we get with our new stars if we can. Ah, we might have to go back up the other way. All right, Dustin, can you read our new haiku?
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack here. This is really very clever. Forest for the trees, his absence like the clearing. We used to walk here.
That's beautiful. That's very
It's
evocative.
and it is very evocative, and well done too for managing to bridge sort of our two themes here, where there's emotion and grief, but using still the haiku format, which typically has a focus or an inspiration, takes inspiration from nature. So you managed to kind of blend those two together there. So really well done.
I also like when you say forest for the trees, it recalls that saying, like they weren't able to see the forest
Mm-hmm.
for the trees.
Right,
That's very,
exactly.
very smart to add more context that way, even when you don't have the space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nope, that's exactly it. Absence like the clearing is really interesting as well, because a clearing, right? What is a clearing? It's void of the other things that are around it. A clearing in a forest is void of trees, and absence, of course, is a void. So there's a very clever comparison at work there as well. And of course, we used to walk here is just sad, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm. We have unlocked the power of the double jump now.
Oh, excellent.
Oh.
You're unstoppable.
Now, yeah, just wait until I can triple jump. Then I'll be extra unstoppable. All right, so looks like up here. Again, poetry positive space to celebrate National Poetry Month and every other month throughout the rest of the year. Whoops.
Oh no! I'm just I'm on the Twitch stream, so I'm just a hair behind
Right.
where you're at playing.
Oh, look at this. Look at this big arched space that we're in. Oh. I also love how perspective changes in this game. Like sometimes it's very zoomed in, sometimes it's very zoomed out. And I love how right now it's very small.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this happens occasionally, right, where the camera is zoomed way out, and we're treated to this very tiny character surrounded by this really massive landscape. And I think it's a really clever sort of visual commentary on how grief can feel so much bigger. Our emotions can feel so much bigger than we are.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very smart.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
we've got another one. Y'all are on fire today.
I'll let you read this one.
In the hidden sea, deeply suppressed memories, flooding crimson light, burns through the pages of life, bringing forth new horizons. In the hidden sea, deeply suppressed memories. So this is interesting, right? In the hidden sea, and then in flooding, you've got flooding crimson light. So the light is flooding in, of course, but flooding also calls back to the hidden sea, or the sea of emotions, deeply suppressed memories, sort of buried perhaps on that sea floor. Are they brought back up from, are they dredged up by the flooding? Flooding crimson light burns through the pages. It's interesting too, a sort of mix of water and fire imagery here. Water flooding and sort of drowning or repressed, and then also burning. And then your final line here, bringing forth new horizons, which sort of tells us that in spite of all of these things in the previous 4 lines, that there is still hope, right?
Absolutely.
For the future.
Thank you,
Yeah.
John. Thank you for doing
Yeah,
that.
well done.
Thank you for also, Dustin. I I always appreciate having a second person on stream while I'm just struggling to figure out how to make the next platform. It's like we're on one hand we're having this like very like beautiful, like thoughtful, contemplative moment reflecting on poetry, and on the other I'm like, how do I get to this dang platform? So, okay. Maybe if I can I slowly float. Maybe maybe I have to get up another way. But seriously, thank you, Jen. That was very beautiful.
Yeah, no, that's great. Awesome.
Maybe I just need to angle it. Oh, what is this?
I always I always say to people that like I know when I think a poem is good because I'm jealous that I didn't write it.
Were you jealous of John?
Oh, are you kidding? I'm jealous of all these. They've all been great. we've got some poets in our midst.
Absolutely.
Now I'm just saying I think we ought to do like poetry collaboration with our take all the poems and just put them together for the Humanities at Play poetry anthology or something. I think that would be very fun.
I think we definitely will and should have this anthology. You know, we've had some really wonderful poems over the last couple of weeks, and even though
Yeah, we
April is
have.
about to come to an end, and theoretically, you know, we wanted to have a lot of poetries and poetry workshop like focused moments this month. That's not to say we can't do that in the future. I was telling Dustin this is our last scheduled stream with him this month, but I don't, you know, it's not to say that I won't ever work with Dustin again. I want to have Dustin on again, so this is not the last you'll ever see of him, and I'm glad.
Yeah, no, I'm fully committed to seeing this game and Child of Light to the end, and and whatever else you end up doing. I'm here for the ride.
Just forgive me for not
I
being able to make it. I am determined, right? This is like another metaphor for life and grief. You just keep going, even if it takes 100
well,
times. I'm gonna make it to that
that's
platform.
That's right. That's right. And sometimes the way forward isn't immediately obvious, and that's definitely clear in this game as well, right? There's a lot of back and forth and up and down that happens. It's nothing is linear.
It's
Oh,
true.
you're like so
I
close.
know. Okay, I think it's just one of those. Can I hit the right angle?
Mm-hmm.
I think now that I can double jump, I think I have to just jump a little bit and then float the rest of the way. So let's see if I can. Oh, is this it? Did it. We did it.
Excellent, excellent.
And again, here's like another. I'm going to stop here and just sort of reflect on this space. I love how there's so many like I would call them like scenes or landscapes. Some are like very full, some are very empty. And I love when, you know, your character becomes very small and there's just like this like huge like cutout.
Mm-hmm.
I think the negative space has a lot to say, and it's really, really nice. So I'll pause here
Yeah,
and
that's
again.
yeah. You're exactly right about the negative space. It's a good call out on the negative space.
And shapes again, you know, right? We have a circle, we have triangles, we have squares, all very simple, but all come together to make this very beautiful thing. I wonder, it's getting a little bit bluer. Do you think blue's going to be our next color? Or do you think we're still just, this is like another form of green? I feel like maybe it's a
Yeah,
gray.
Yeah, it is kind of. It is almost kind of bluish, isn't it? It could be blue. What if we let's see, we've seen it started off just like gray, just like totally gray, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
we got red, and then we got green, and then what do we I don't even know what the other colors might be. Blue, yellow, I don't know, purple.
Oh, purple would be. I love purple. Oh,
Yeah,
good
purple's
color.
yeah.
What's not there is just as important as what is. My mom always says, "Your mother is a genius and a poet." Thank you.
Yep, that's
Should wait longer for that middle one.
um that that's actually really funny. Was that intentionally a haiku?
Oh, is it a haiku? What?
What's not there is just first line, as important as as what is 7 syllables. My mom always says. Yeah. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that totally fits into a haiku format.
Oh, so
That's
interesting.
really funny. It was not.
Oh, I love
I,
it.
I was curious because you didn't use the line breaks, but yeah, if you throw a forward slash, what's not there is just, and then forward slash, as important as what is forward slash. My mom always says it makes a haiku 575. That's
Oh my
so funny.
goodness. And thank you for catching that. Oh, look at us.
Just accidentally writing poetry. Oh wow. Oh, you are
Yeah.
so high.
I'm just gonna let this so I have to press spacebar to advance, but I'm gonna let her slowly fall because I absolutely
Hmm.
love this imagery.
Yeah, this is really cool imagery. Oh, it's not even gonna let you fall. You're like the background. Is the background moving at all?
I'll have to.
Oh, it does let you. Oh, okay, it does let you fall.
Oh. Oh, look at this. Another statue. Yeah, definitely Hugh. This is the prettiest game. I just can't get over how amazing this is. Really, it's not I feel like you can't even call this a game, it's a work of art in its own right.
It is. It truly is.
So we've seen statues before. Some have been broken, some have been whole. And I like how they use that to represent, a little bit more about maybe the character's state of mind, or to add a little bit more to the story in this game. Oh, we are suddenly very small. Okay, how do I get up? Let's see. Maybe I have to
I
break
like the
something.
symmetry. I like the symmetry that's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of symmetry.
Oh, we got another beautiful poem in chat, Dustin.
Branches of crimson, crumbling structures of my mind, no voice to cry out. I search endlessly about for what has been lost to me. I love that. I think crumbling structures of my mind is a really, really interesting way of sort of conveying that feeling of just sort of helplessness, just where you're just kind of falling apart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really interesting way to sort of visualize that crumbling structures of my mind, like the pillars of order that keep a person, you know, sane. And oh, oh my,
Oh my, indeed.
whoa! Sorry, just tuning into the giant bird.
The music has changed. Oh. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm like literally getting goosebumps right now.
Yeah, this is like a boss battle.
Right, but like an internal one, right? With like your own emotions.
Uh-huh. It sounds very angry, that bird. So, so I wonder what emotion the bird would represent, right?
Right, it's almost like rage or like desperation, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're about to discover a new color, though.
Yeah, I know. We've been in this color for a really long time. That bird
Oh!
invokes fear in my heart.
Wow, that scared me.
Have we tried falling from a really high place and just going heavy and like knocking on its on like knocking it on its head?
We have not. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll let you read what Hugh just put in chat, Dustin.
A world in fluxus, sometimes lonely, sometimes free. In moments brief breath, we journeyers dwell beneath the coursing seas, red with change. Let's hold each other close now, dreaming further together.
Oh. Hugh. That is so lovely.
Sometimes lonely, sometimes free. In moments brief breath. I'm a big fan of alliteration.
Yes, and absolutely, John.
Journeyers
Fear.
dwell.
That bird invokes fear in my heart.
We journeyers dwell between the coursing seas, red with change. Coursing is such a good word.
It is.
Coursing seas, red with change. Let's hold each other close now, dreaming further together. Yeah, well done. Yeah. Love it.
Oh.
It's interesting. Coursing seas, red with change. That's very interesting because usually when we think of change and red together, at least I, if I'm thinking of red and change together, it is sort of bloody, right? It calls to mind a sort of bloodshed affair that brings about or instigates the change. The coursing seas, red with change. I don't know if you meant this, Hugh, intentionally or not, but the coursing seas, red with change is kind of, it's a sea of blood in my mind. The coursing seas, red with change. It's a sea of blood, a sort of violent or tumultuous change. Maybe not literally, bloodshed, but something evocative of a very tumultuous thing that has happened, which with the next line, let's hold each other close now. That's very soft as in juxtaposition. Perhaps the change has happened and now it's time for peace. Yeah, lots of ways to interpret that. That's very cool. Well done. My favorite thing about poetry, and one of the most annoying things, people talk about, like, a lot of people like to, when they're doing an analysis of poetry, inevitably there's always someone that wants to discuss, like, authorial intent, and like, what did the author intend for the poetry, for the poem to mean? What did the author intend for? And it's like, at a certain point it doesn't matter, right? When you put a work out for public consumption, your intent as an author doesn't matter anymore, because the minute someone else picks it up and reads it, the poem belongs to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And same goes for any kind of work of fiction. It belongs to them, in their mind, right? They make those associations, and their interpretation of the work belongs to them. And so it's always kind of interesting, when you talk about like what is the poet mean? What did they intend for this poem to mean? Well, you can kind of pick it apart. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. But I'm sure Blood Red Sea probably was not what Hugh had in mind exactly there.
Was it
And
Hugh?
Hugh, correct me if I'm wrong. If that was exactly what you had in mind, let me know. But it's just really fascinating to see like the ways that people can interpret the same lines, and poetry is fantastic for that because it's so brief, usually, that that you can really sort of tear things apart and dive deep.
Okay, I know exactly what I have to do. It's just I don't know how to do it. The bird has to
Oh
blow
no,
me
what do you
onto
have
this
to do?
podium. Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't see blood or mean blood. Maybe subconsciously you did mean that. Yeah, it's
Mm.
funny what comes out.
Well, the other thing too, right, is like we get words and phrases or kinds of imagery that are just sort of part of our collective consciousness as human beings. Um, and a lot of times we make associations in our minds without realizing that we do it, and that comes out a lot in writing. um, Sometimes it comes in the form of like cliches. Those are maybe the most sort of apparent way that comes forward. But again, it's just like, like for example, a coursing sea, right? When you think of a coursing sea, you, excuse me, can think of waves or perhaps navigation or seafaring, sort of
Mm-hmm.
sailing a rough sea. And when you think about it like that, right? Just a coursing sea, your brain can go, three or four different ways, and it's likely that other people reading that will think the same, or will have at least considered those possibilities as well. And it's because of those sort of, those ideas, as I said, that are buried in our collective consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very fascinating, to see all the way those things can be at work in a piece of poetry, also, or in art. In art, certainly, it's not limited just to poetry.
Well, I've fallen all the way back down. I will say that moment with the bird we had just now. I wonder if that was the same bird who was like yelling at us, or that was a different bird. But um,
Hmm.
that was a really, really nice moment. Okay, how do I get up here? See if I can get further down. Okay, so Dustin, I was thinking if let's see if we can get to the next color, and once we do, I think that'd be a good place to stop. And I know you have a couple readings
Yeah.
prepared, so um, we've made some really good progress on this game today.
Yeah. Yeah, I admit we've been in the color red a lot longer than I anticipated we would be.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of red and green. This is actually a much longer game than I think I initially gave it credit for.
Right. And that's great. It's always sad when a game ends sooner than you would like it
Mm-hmm.
to.
Oh, absolutely.
I also appreciate all like the repeated metaphors. So I don't know who in chat is like a musician or is familiar with this concept of the leitmotif. Um, this is like I think you see a lot in like German opera, but it's also borrowed by Nobuo Uematsu, who did a lot of the music for Final Fantasy and other video games. But it's basically like a repeated theme that you might get for like like a main character. So like Guile's theme, Terra's theme, all the famous like character themes. These are examples of leitmotifs. And I'm bringing this up because I think in this game, what I'm seeing are these repeated metaphors of like the bells, the butterflies, the birds. Really interesting. Oh, they blew
Oh
the
my.
bell. What is supposed to happen here? Oh, we have.
Silver says, anger given form, strife takes flight on wings of black. Steel thyself and overcome. That's brilliant. I love that. Steel thyself. That's a really, yeah, that's very good. Anger given form. And we're talking about the bird here, I presume. Anger given form, strife takes flight on wings of black. Steel thyself and overcome. That's very good. That's
Mhm.
very, very good.
And Hugh, thank you for so much for joining us for this game. I hope you don't mind me sort of giving this away, but Hugh is a wonderful artist and little community leader in Las Vegas, and I hope to stream with her very soon, especially next month, May, which is National Mental Health Awareness Month, as well as Asian American Pacific Islander and Native Hawaiian Heritage Month. And I'm very excited to introduce you all to Hugh. Now that she's here, you're among friends, and just to get your wonderful perspectives and thoughts and learn a little bit more about you. This is gorgeous, by the way. This is the. I'm so emotional watching this. Oh, is this a new color? Is it blue or purple?
Oh.
Blue, perhaps? Wow. I'm getting goosebumps again.
It is blue! Yay! Did it.
Wow. Just the way the colors are spreading, like ink or water. It's like raining. Oh my goodness, this game. Okay, I know you can't see it, but we have just unlocked a Steam achievement called Blue. Simply Blue.
Woohoo! Blue.
All right, so Dustin, I'll take one final jump and let's see where we end up. But I'm just curious, as we
All
pause
right.
here on a screen, what do you make of this scene, with this, again, this giant outstretched
Yeah.
palm and this woman, kind of broken statue?
I'm Yeah, I mean, so here, look, great example here of the collective consciousness, right? If we all, I mean, most immediately there's rain, right? And what do we just equate rain with? Like sadness, right? And grief, or things that are that make us sad. The rain, things, it's dreary, and even the color blue can be associated with a sort of depression or dreariness. And it's really interesting that the statue is missing eyes, right? Because of course, where do we cry from? We cry from our eyes, and so it's very interesting that those eyes are gone, and there's either a blindness, right, to the emotions that she experiences, or perhaps it's an all cried out kind of thing. There's no tears left to cry, or I mean, you could just go
Oh
on,
my gosh,
right?
I didn't even make that association with that. See, I'm so happy I asked you because I think people always notice things that you might not have picked up otherwise, but you're right
Yeah.
about tears coming from eyes, which are gone from that statue. And
Hmm.
Tan, I'm gonna call you out, because your username calls back to Blade Runner, and there's that very famous quote about tears and rain. So here you go. Here's your tears and rain,
Mm.
Tan.
Yeah, it's also definitely not a coincidence that the statue, like all of the statues, are female,
Mm.
right? Because again, we sort of, for better or worse, right? We sort of just as a society equate women with bigger emotions, and of course, it's all nonsense, right? But that is sort of the stereotype that we have in sort of ingrained in us, is that women experience emotions, bigger or differently. And of course, as I said, I don't buy into that personally, but that is the sort of the stereotype that is at play. And it's interesting here that the artist, and the developer here of the game has chosen to represent, exclusively, has chosen exclusively to use the female form to represent people, our only depictions of people other than our main character in this environment. All the statues are female, so it must mean something to the creator of the game. And again, that gets into that discussion of authorial intent, right? Like whatever the game developer intended perhaps doesn't really matter. But another thing that's really interesting here, right, is that there's fountains of water. This is
Mm-hmm.
different. They're trees. Those blocks, it's not. They're not. They're still falling. Like if they're falling in sort of a fountain-esque way, but still in the shape of a square. That's more just interesting to me than anything else. But the water, though, there's water, which we haven't seen before. Water is brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, what stage of grief do we imagine, the blue represents, right? And I think water, when you have water, it's you can't overlook the like drowning metaphor that may be present, right, where you kind of are drowning. And sometimes when we're covered, when we're in big deep emotions, we can feel like we're drowning in our grief or in our emotions, and water is very easily symbolic of that. So just think it's an interesting addition right now, the water, where we haven't seen it before in this game.
Yeah. Thank you for leaving us with that. Definitely, yeah, drowning in emotions, all the tears. So Dustin, I think it is imperative that we finish this game together. So I will chat with you
I
about
Yeah, I
future
agree.
streams. And of course, Child of Light, we have some repeat customers here in chat who shared the most delightful couplets about cats and houses from our last time here streaming with Dustin.
That's right.
So I hope to get back to that in the future. But let me exit out of this game. And I think it would be great to, hear a couple of poems from you before we end our streams and say goodbye to you all.
Sure.
All right. We're gonna exit. Yes. Okay. So, Dustin, I guess take us away. Take us home with some
Okay.
wonderful poems.
Yeah, so let's share a few. So I've got a couple of haikus that are untitled. Um and then I've got another that I'm still working on. Okay, so I've got another that I'm still working on. Look, I'm going to share this. I'm going to share it, and I'm going to share this first so people can think about it,
Okay.
because I'm really solid with this right up to, well, I'm not going to say first. I'm just going to read it and then I'll say. The poem is tentatively titled "Embrace." I embrace you, wandering souls without a home, and bid you become family. Come forward, son, mother, daughter, father, child, lost and lonely, stranger, not so strange as unfamiliar. Rest here now and heal. And I'm really with it. This is a work in progress. I'm really with it right up to the very last line of the poem. I don't like it dips a little bit too much into cliche for me, so I'm not super satisfied with it. But that's a work in progress, and it's a great, thank you, Silver. I appreciate that. This is a good example. You're getting sort of peek behind the curtain right at the process. I'm not super thrilled with that last line, and that's okay. I'm good with everything up to it. And this is one of those things where sometimes there's a creative spark, and you're like, you write down as much as you can, and then you come back to it, and I'm going to put this away for a few days, and then I'll come back to it, and maybe I will feel something different, right? And I'll be able to round it off in a way that I'm really satisfied with. And that last line, rest here now and heal, like that's the spirit of what I'm trying to capture. I think it's too on the nose. It's too on the nose for me, and so the spirit is there, but I haven't said it the way exactly I think I want to say it. So thanks for letting me share that.
Yeah, and as Hugh says, thank you for sharing a work in progress. Like you said, we get a lot of finished products, but we don't always get sort of a thing in progress and knowing the struggles that go towards composing or writing or the act of creating something.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and then I have 2 haikus to share. And I will actually put them so people can see what the line breaks look like.
Okay.
I will write it here in the chat. I'll read it and then I'll send it. Okay. Deep in creek water, up to my waist, memories, past so near and far.
I love that. That's very good, especially considering we just stopped Greece. Actually, that I feel like that connects to the water world that we have just begun to enter. So
yeah, that's right. I guess it does.
Yeah, and I see. Oh, Dustin, John. Oh, thank you for sharing this blue tanka. I'll let you read it, Dustin.
The boiling ocean. Boiling is such that's interesting. The boiling ocean, bubbling emotions building, breaking walls holding. The flood brings cities to dirt, laying alone, brought by pain.
John, John. Why don't you write more poetry? I feel like we are seeing the emergence of like a hidden genius here. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
But yeah,
let's see.
Dustin, yours is really, it was so, thank you for sharing your haiku. Does it have a title?
No, not yet. I haven't found a title yet that I like for it. Because titles in a poem that is very short and very compressed, like a haiku, titles are really, really important because they basically serve as an extra line. So the title itself is really, really important because you have an opportunity to continue to drive home what the meaning of the poem is, or what you want especially because it's the first thing that people read, so they see the title and it already sets up the expectation for the poem, and so you have an opportunity to decide, is it going to be something that's relevant? Is it going to be something that's totally different that causes the poem, like you already are going to think about the poem in one way, but then when you consider it with the title, maybe it changes your interpretation or it opens up multiple interpretations, right? So titles are really important, especially for poems and especially for super short poems, because every word matters. So I haven't come up with a title yet, but I'm working on it. Okay, this last one is just silly. Silver says painful things and water go hand in hand in many poetic pieces. Oh, thank you. And both of you definitely give those feelings in the best ways.
Definitely.
Yeah, thanks, Silver. Okay, very last one here to share. This one's very silly. And it's only funny if everybody knows what a cattail is, like the plant. We all familiar with what a cattail is?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so too, because otherwise this isn't going to make any sense, and that's okay. You can Google it. Okay. Yes, love those. Okay, great. Okay, great. Why do all cattails look like county fair corn dogs? Tempting. Delicious.
They do. They really do.
Yeah, right?
That's really good.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Nature's corn dogs.
Just silly. Nature's corn dogs. That's right.
Nobody.
It's very silly. I remember my grandfather had like a pond out like back behind his house, and I remember them growing up really super tall, right? They're a very reedy plant, and they grow up real tall around the edge of the pond, and no bite.
Must bite.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I remember like as a kid, right, thinking how they looked like corn dogs, and it's like, but it's like yeah, you can't Call of the Void says to take a bite, but it's not going to end well.
The Call of the Void. Yeah, Nature's Forbidden Corn Dogs. I love it. Dustin, thank you so much for sharing all of those poems. And you're right. I never really thought about how titles really lend so much to a piece or a poem. Last week we were streaming with Jared Stanley, who teaches poetry at the University of Nevada, Reno, and he was chatting about one-word poems. And I love that one of his poems was just simply Furiosity. That was it. That was the whole poem. And I was thinking, for your haiku about, being deep in creek water, memories pass near and far, you could call it, depending on if there was a title, which it doesn't need to have one, but, whatever shade you give it would definitely change my interpretation of that. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's yeah, I'll have a title. I'll give it a title before it gets published, but yeah, working on it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dustin, for streaming today, for discovering our new color. Thank you, everyone in chat, for all of the absolutely beautiful and thoughtful poems and observations you brought to the table. I'm just going to note, so our next stream will be this Tuesday, April 25th at 12 p.m. Pacific, and we're going to continue our playthrough of Season A Letter to the Future with Professor Josh Webster from Great Basin. So if you're free then, we hope to see you. But, if you aren't able to make it, no problem at all. We're working on getting our YouTube channel set up. So hopefully someday you can, revisit these streams with Dustin, see the streams that you've missed with Josh, and of course, all of our other guests. I would love to have a gallery soon, with all the poems that we've created today and past streams, so we can just create this Humanities at Play anthology. So I'm just going to say have a wonderful rest of your Sundays, everyone. Dustin, thank you again for being here with me today, and I hope to finish all these games with you very soon. I just can't wait. I'm so glad I've made this connection. You've been so brilliant and fun to hang out with.
Thank you. Thank you. I've had a fantastic time. So fun. Thanks, everybody in chat, especially those of you that have been coming back again and again. So appreciate you. And yeah, looking forward to the next one.
All right. Have a wonderful night. Bye, everyone. Yes, nudie branches. Don't forget nudie branches. Bye.
This is my comeback. Start yours at Purdue.